Today we heard from the governor of the state of Indiana about several things that I think is important for those of us in the Indiana General Assembly to understand, because what it really does is it sets the kind of the outcomes that we should look for when we talk about public policy here at the state. What I found intriguing about this last speech that we'll hear from our two-term governor is he talked about some things that I think all of us in the state of Indiana should welcome. Talked about investment. He talked about all of the things that we've done to make Indiana a place to do business. And I, for most part, feel like we've done a lot of those good things. But there are some significant things that I found interesting about the state of the state today. And I want to just focus on a few of them here tonight. You know, it was under the Pence administration that we started down the path of rewriting our criminal code. Those of you who were around when we started talking about whether or not we should have A, B, C, D, and F, or level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we said that as members of the General Assembly, that incarceration was not the path that we wanted to take to protect citizens, but more of a helping hand to try to provide services for people who need them. We knew we were in a mental health crisis, and we wanted to help them. Yet today, we've seen a budget where we're going to be building a new prison. Let me say that one more time. In his speech today, the governor said we're going to build a new prison in Westfield. Is that the kind of stuff that we want here in the state of Indiana? We should be talking about lowering the amount of people that go to prison. And that's what I thought we were doing when we revised the criminal code. But again, year after year, we would come back and make a change. And I said this, and I'll keep saying it, we could not incarcerate our way out of this mental health crisis. The governor touted our AAA rating. Great. We have a good credit rating. So do 11 other states located not only in the Midwest, but in the South, states like Virginia, New Jersey, Maryland. These are not bastions of conservative views. They found a way to make sure that their credit rating's good. But you know something that they did on top of that? They also said, we want to make sure the citizens of our state have a good credit rating. We're going to increase wages, and we're going to say that the minimum wage no longer needs to be $7.25 an hour. We have yet to do that in the state of Indiana. Interesting statement about broadband expansion. He did thank the federal government. I'd like to thank Joe Biden and the Biden administration for setting forth all these policies and dollars so that we could expand broadband to the rural areas. But some people just don't want to admit where the dollars come from, so I'll just say it here today. Last but not least, I represent the capital city in the state of Indiana. Not that we are different than any other Hoosier, but daggone it, the governor said today that we don't need to make a distinction between Indiana and the rest of the state. There's going to be legislation this year that's going to undo ordinances that have been passed in Indianapolis. There's going to be legislation that's going to take a public policy decision about who should be certified as a minority woman or veteran-owned business away from the city of Indianapolis and put it in the hands of the state. And we cannot allow the city of Indianapolis or any other local jurisdiction, allow this to happen to any local jurisdiction across the state that tries to do what is best for its citizens, and yet months later, and sometimes days later, this body comes in and steps over and says, you can't do this. So I'm just hopeful that this session will be something that's productive. I know we've got issues that we're going to be talking about that, you know, those of us who are in the Indiana General Assembly really don't have an understanding of, but we're probably going to see those things. So I hope I hope and pray for the governor and his future endeavors, but it's time for the citizens of Indiana to understand that all of us had a part in a lot of the good things that happened in the state of Indiana, and we could continue down that path if we just had some cooperation from across the aisle.
I appreciated sitting through and listening to the state of the state. And one thing that really stood out to me was the line that standing still is not what Hoosiers were made for. So I ask this in response. The Hoosiers that are moving around are pregnant mothers who are traveling county to county to county to find a maternity ward that is open. We have more and more of our maternity wards in our hospitals that are closing. What are we doing for those mothers? What is also standing still are Hoosiers' wages. Hoosiers' wages are stagnant and are not keeping up with the cost of living. What isn't standing still are young people who are leaving this great state to find other opportunities in other states for those better paying jobs. And what is moving are people who are having to travel to try to find health care across the board, not just delivering babies, but for a cardiologist, a neurologist. This is what we aren't seeing movement in and where we are seeing movement for Hoosiers in Indiana. And those issues have not gone addressed. Whether we're talking about the abortion ban and how that has impacted access to health care for Hoosiers across the board, we know the majority of Hoosiers want that ban lifted. But we are not making any progress in responding to the needs and wants of Hoosiers. We also know what is standing still are women and girls who cannot afford period products, menstrual discharge collection devices, that 1 in 4 Hoosiers cannot leave their home to go to school, to go to work. We've heard a lot about addressing truancy in this body this session. We can do that by repealing that tax. We don't tax RVs. We don't tax medical devices. We don't tax Twix bars or marshmallow fluff. Why are we taxing medical devices that are required for women and girls to engage society and go to school and go to their jobs? This is the work that we are called to do, and I am looking forward to having those discussions in 2024 in order to respond to the real needs of Hoosiers. Thank you.